Hey guys, Scott here to talk to you about the new changes in the 2.3 patch currently on the PTB for Dead by Daylight. There were a number of changes that, well, they don't seem that big, but in practice they actually are pretty big. Nothing huge was changed. Decisive Strike still no change. Freddy still the same. Yada yada yada. No one's surprised, but let's go over what they actually did change, and a lot of it is pretty significant. Let's start with the maps first, because as we all know, map design is probably the biggest issue in the entire game, so the more they fix the maps, the better the game gets. First, let's take a look at the farm maps, which are notorious for being like the worst group of maps in the game, because every single tile you can see through, there's no mind games on anything, they always spawn an absurd amount of pallets. Pretty much every farm map is hated, except like Rotten Fields. And they did a number of changes. The first change that affects all farm maps is the cow tree now has shorter walls. Now, this doesn't really change the fact that you're going to get looped around it 3 times and they're going to drop the pallet and waste a solid minute of time, but it does change the fact that you can't really lose survivors around it anymore. And this is kind of a big deal because there's this spot, in the cow tree where you're looping around it, and you can actually lose sight of the survivor where they can actually just keep running away, and you might accidentally keep looping. And this basically just prevents any lack of... It just removes all mind games entirely. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't know. It's not necessarily a nerf or a buff. It's just a side grade. It's an aesthetic change. The only thing this is an actual huge buff for is killers that need to have direct line of sight to use their power. So Spirit might have a lot easier time if she can see the grass like on the other side moving or scratches forming. Hunters can throw over the walls now, so it's a lot better for Hunters as well. So I guess it's a net gain for killers, but overall it's still going to be a really annoying structure to deal with. In terms of map specifics, Torment Creek saw a huge overhaul to make it a lot more killer friendly, and thank God for that, because it was a really, really bad killer map. The most notable change is simply the amount of pallets has been greatly reduced. Torment Creek could easily spawn 24 pallets on mostly average. It was probably the worst map in the game for the amount of pallets that can actually spawn. Now, we counted, there was probably only about 12 to 13 on it, which is almost half of them completely gone, and it affects it in a pretty scary way. Now, there's always going to be the safe structures like Shack, Cow Tree, the pallet around the blimp, all the jungle gyms, they're always going to have their pallet. But those hay bale loops, sometimes they just don't have pallets anymore, so you might think you're running to a safe place now, and there's just nothing there. So it's kind of scary, and you kind of have to learn where the pallets are first before you start actually leading the killer on a chase now, which is kind of cool. But that map is going to be significantly easier for killer now, which it definitely needed because it was probably the worst map in the entire game. So very, very good change there. Next, the actual swamp map saw pretty interesting changes too. Both Pale Rose and Grim Pantry both saw their size drastically reduced, which is good because Pale Rose was the biggest map in the game, and if you were not Hillbilly or, Nurse, you were going to have a really rough time getting around the map, maybe Hag, So that's really, really nice. And they did some tile layout changes as well. For example, in Grim Pantry, there used to never be able to be a pallet loop spawn here around this generator, but now it can be. It used to be a dead area. Additionally, now on the far side, they shrunk the map down, and in its place, they put one of the piers from Pale Rose on there, which is kind of interesting, because I don't know if a generator can spawn up there. It might be able to, maybe not, but if there's no generator there, it's kind of a useless structure other than for, like, hiding. So, I'm not sure how I feel about that one. It's interesting to see it there, though. Now, the Grim Pantry itself still kind of sucks. If you down somebody in the bottom, you still might not be able to hook them because there's only 1 or 2 entrances, and they're always in really inopportune places and things like that. However, the top floor got a lot better because the double window vaults on both sides have been changed to just doorways. So you can't double window vault that over and over and over and over again. So that's really, really nice and a welcome nerf to that side of the map. Other than that, the area in the middle seems to have more pallets to account for the consolidated space now, which is perfectly okay. And same thing with Pale Rose. Everything is just basically scrunched more towards the center, which is great. That's pretty much everything I've been asking for that map, so I'm really happy with those changes. And I think killers will enjoy those changes as well. Haddonfield saw a couple of minor changes. There are a bit less giant hedge walls, like right outside of Meyer's house. There's no hedge wall there anymore. The short walls can no longer spawn fences that have giant distance gaps. They're generally in between, like the window itself will generally be in between 2 separate little gaps, so you can't really gain that much distance now if you use one of those vaults, which is really nice. Now, the tall window or the tall fences, they're still the same. They can still be random. They can still occupy half the map, just depending on how lucky you are. So those still suck, and the basement can still spawn with that really annoying window at the top. But from what I've seen, the basement's a little bit improved. It's still a really annoying structure, though, so don't think you're gonna have like a fun time there. It's still pretty bad. Same thing on Bad and Preschool. It's the same tile. So the basement still sucks, but it's not as bad as it used to be. They also changed the totem spawn for Asylum and any other map that has, a totem spawn that can be on that hill. They changed it to be right here instead, which is a bit more inconspicuous, but still pretty visible. It's certainly better than it was, though. I would prefer it was a bit more hidden than that, but it's an improvement. I can't complain. Other than that, those were the main map changes. They also made changes to the game, but that map is currently bugged, and I don't really want to talk about it because it can spawn rooms where you literally cannot get out now. So obviously they're going to fix that, and it's not worth talking about right now. Other things that they changed that are really cool, you can actually see your add-ons now next to your power, which is really nice in case you forgot what you got on. Great for streaming or YouTube videos. People can know what you're using at all times. So really nice quality of life change. I'm very happy with that. Looks awesome. Not intrusive. It just looks like it's been there since the beginning of the game, which is how it should be. It's really good. They also changed the blind effect to be a bit less retina burning. It's actually a pretty cool entity kind of bloodshot eye effect. I like it a lot. It's the same timing and everything like that. It's just a visual change. Additionally, the angle for which you can hit a flashlight save has been altered a bit. It's a bit more forgiving. You can aim pretty much anywhere from their crotch to their top of their head now. So it's a bit easier for people to hit that. Now, the timing is still the same, so you still need to know your timing. It's not like a noob can just pick up a flashlight and just hit every save now. You still got to learn the timing. It's just a bit more forgiving on the actual angle now. In terms of up and down. In terms of left or right, it's still got to be in front of the guy. You still got to be, within like a 70 or 90 degree angle, I forget. So overall, it's not going to change that much, but not really unwelcome, it's not really unwelcome changes either. So can't really complain about that. What else? What else have they changed? I'm trying to think. Oh God, one of the best changes. When you press escape in a match, you can see which survivor used which offering, so you can just Mori the fucking asshole who put you on Bad and Preschool, or who burned the thick mist, or removed all your hooks, or any of that stuff. So I love that. That's probably my favorite change of this whole patch. If somebody burns an offering, I know I can be a dick to like one specific player, and that feels good. I like that change a lot. So I'm happy with that one. And other than that, I think that is just about all of the major changes in the patch. Oh, I'm sorry. The vaulting as well is a bit different. Survivors need to have a bit more of a straight line before attempting a fast vault. Basically, all this really changes is like those 4-lane walls where there's not really much room to get a fast vault on the windows like in the middle. Those are pretty much impossible to fast vault now. Other than that, we tested it a bunch. It didn't seem like that big of a change. You just need to be running in a straight line for about a second before you vault. So it is a noticeable change, but it shouldn't really affect people that much unless it's one of those structures where it's like a 4-wall where you cannot gain any forward momentum, in which case now you will be forced to medium vault no matter what. So it's definitely a nerf towards survivors, but it's not really that noticeable unless it's a very specific structure. Okay, I think that is everything so far. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated more as I test more, but overall looking pretty good. No drastic changes, no DS, no Freddy, but can't really complain. Seems to be all pretty good stuff, so. Alright guys, thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.